Okay, so today we're just doing a brief overview of Bloom's taxonomy. This matters to all learners, but especially to teachers, because this is a really helpful structure for establishing learning objectives, writing lesson plans, having educational goals. So if you're in curriculum design as a school teacher or even as a student learning about education and about teaching, Bloom's taxonomy is a really helpful tool. So first, what's a taxonomy? According to Google, it is a branch of science concerned with classification, especially organisms or systematics, the classifying of something, or a system of classification. So we can have a taxonomy of anything. It's simply a way of organizing things. So I have a taxonomy for how I organize my baseball cards. We have a different taxonomy for how I organize files on my computer within my Google Drive and things like that. It's just a framework, right? So Bloom's taxonomy then comes from this guy, Benjamin Bloom, and it was developed back in the 1950s. He calls it a hierarchical order of cognitive skills that can, among other uses, help teachers teach and students learn. So it's just ordering these cognitive skills. Remember, back in the 1950s, that's how we thought everyone learned, was simply by whatever was going on in your head. We had to find the best way to organize and structure that so that we could direct our students in how they were learning. Well, Bloom's taxonomy is an effective tool in doing that. This is what the taxonomy looks like. Let me pull my face away from here so you can see it. I am not Benjamin Bloom. But it kind of is set up like this pyramid, right? And let me take you back. Do I have a pyramid here? Nope, we don't show a pyramid. Often this is organized as kind of a pyramid, showing that base level here of remember, retaining and recall information, that's where we're going to spend most of our time. It establishes kind of the foundation. And so often my students get confused by this. They're like, well, why don't we just start with create? If that's the highest level of the taxonomy, if that's most effective, why don't we just spend all our time there? It's because these skills build on each other, right? So we have to have a basic knowledge or understanding first. For example, if I'm teaching a dance class, I want to first teach what a particular dance move is, and I can do that verbally by explaining the dance move. I can show it to my students, and then I can have them practice. Now, what the goal would be, the educational goal, is that they might retain and recall that information. So tomorrow when we go over that same dance move, they remember it and can kind of understand it, explain it to someone else. So we're spending our time there in that basic lower level of Bloom's taxonomy. But our hope is by the end of the semester, maybe now they're choreographing their own dance using those dance moves. So they already have that knowledge, and they've combined that with their knowledge of other dance moves so that they, as they analyze which move would be most appropriate for this style of dance, they can create something that's worthwhile. Now, another example of this would be we spend most of our time in Dance 1 or in Math 1, basic math, or in social studies, the introductory course, just going over the basic knowledge and skills. So we're hanging out here in the lower levels of Bloom's taxonomy. However, sorry, I'm getting a dinging sound. Once we've kind of established the basics, then we get more into those higher levels where we analyze, evaluate, and create. Well, in a Dance 2 class, we don't have to spend as much time in those lower levels because we already cover that in Dance 1. So Dance 2 is going to be more of the creating and evaluating. And this is an important concept because a lot of my students are like, well, I teach a kindergarten class. Am I ever going to be in creative and evaluate? Of course, it's just going to take some time to get your students there. However, in an upper level English class, you're probably going to spend a lot more time in creative, right? Because you've already laid that foundation in all the courses leading up to that. So as our students become more advanced and gain more knowledge and expertise, they can engage in these higher levels of Bloom's taxonomy. So that's just our brief overview on Bloom's taxonomy today. I hope it was helpful.